What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to another video, and on this video it is going to be a trade recap on gold trade, right? So today I ended up taking buys and just catching a 101, a simple trade, an easy trade. But the reason why I took this trade was because I was following the pullback, basically what market was giving me, right? So let's go ahead and get started on this explanation on this trade today on gold. All right. So on my previous video, I had said that we were sometime going to get a pullback back to the upside, then creating that lower low. Reason being why we haven't had a pullback ever since April 24th, right? As you guys can see, we did have that pullback and then we just immediately started dumping, right? So on my previous video, I was like, okay, we're gonna get either a pullback today, which was yesterday, or tomorrow, which is today, right? Obviously, it didn't give me the pullback yesterday or on Tuesday, but it did give me the pullback today. Okay, so I was basically going what market was giving me. As you guys can see here, we had a huge push to the upside during Asia session, during London session, right? So once London was transitioning into New York, we started consolidating. Okay, so on the 15 minute, right? Sorry, not on the 15. On the 5 minute, I took a 13 EMA breakout for buys. Basically what market was giving me, right? So we go to the 4 hour, we do have a unfilled gap right here, right? And I've always said it, every gap in the market has to get filled. Yes, it may take months, maybe it takes years, maybe it takes decades. At the end of the day, the market, every single gap has to get filled, okay? So right here, we did have a gap on the 4 hour. We also had a gap on the 1 hour. And yeah, right? So my thought process was, okay, I'm gonna take this 13 EMA breakout, and then I'm going to target basically the fill in the gap, right? Obviously, I didn't get that. I just went for a 101, targeting London's highest point, which it barely ended up hitting TP. I went for a 1.2 RR, but it didn't fill in this gap today. Okay, so it didn't fill in this gap today. My thought process was basically, okay, yes, overall we are still bearish, but I'm going what the market is giving me, which is that pullback. I am going to follow that pullback so I can fill in that gap, or not me, but the market can fill in that gap, right? But obviously I didn't get that, which is okay. But as you guys can see here, once it hit my take profit, it immediately started rejecting. Reason being why, alright, we created a double top. Okay, we created a double top here. As you guys can see, we had a push to the upside, we had a little pullback to the downside, push back up, and then immediately started dumping. Okay, reason being why, it's because we had that double top, right? It didn't fit in the 4 hour, which is okay. You know, we're basically going what market is going to give us, right? So obviously, I just went for that highest point of London, which is right there as my TP. It hit, and I'm okay with that, right? But as you guys can see here, this double top literally got respected, right? We had a double top, and we also had a 13 EMA breakout going to the downside. This is not counter trend. Reason being why? Because we're going what the market is giving us with the trend, right? So you guys can see this is market structure. We're creating lower highs and lower lows, right? So if the higher time frames are starting to take over these highs over here, then obviously that means that we're gonna start going back up on a bullish trend. Okay, so now this right here, yes, on 13 EMA wise, it is counter trend, but during on the higher time frames on during market structure, it is not counter trend. Okay, you're basically going on that lower low, right? They did had a pullback creating that lower high. Now it's going back down to create a lower low, right? So that's basically how I took my trade. Had a 13 EMA breakout to the upside, and then take profit highest point of London's high, right? Once it created this double top, which it did get respected, created that 13 EMA, which theoretically this was the trade to take right here, and you could have just targeted a low, which would have gave you a 1.9 R, basically a 102. This was the trade to go for, but I did not end up taking that just because I won, and obviously I only trade once a day, and I don't want to risk me losing all my profits. So obviously I just took one trade. Okay, a lot of people did ended up losing on this trade right here, which is going to be the 5 minute supply to the downside, which is not a bad trade. This, I would take this all the single time. If it has a 5 minute supply going to the downside, we're going with the trend, and it gives us break of the candle, then yes, I would always take this. Obviously, it didn't play out. Market just consolidated. Whoever entered off of break of the candle got stopped out, and then it was just consolidating, right? But if you would have entered off a sniper entry stop loss above the zone, then you would have not got stopped out, and you would have targeted your 1-on-1, and you would have won, right? But yeah, a lot of people did get stopped out on this trade, which is okay. You know, it happens. This is what market gave you, and it is what it is. Alright, so now let's go ahead and on NQ. Okay, on NQ, I didn't have any setups just because during market open, we did have a huge bearish candle to the downside. So I basically didn't look anything on NQ, and I already traded before that, so I decided to not place any more trades. But yeah, that's basically how I took my trade today. Yes, it wasn't the best setup, but it was a good setup for me just because I was following what market was giving me. But other than that, that's going to be it for this video. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Make sure you guys follow me on TikTok. And if you guys want to learn about the 13 EMA breakout, supply and demand, and all the other stuff, then click the link below. And I'll see you guys then. Other than that, boys, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.